Yamaha just dropped the best headphone in the world. End of the review. No, I'm joking, but if you want to know more about it, just keep watching. Yamaha for me always been something really special. And since Valentino Rossi decided to leave the Honda for moving to Yamaha, and at this time the Yamaha was really not so good, but what he was able to do it with the Yamaha was, oh my god.
Marquez is up the inside of Rossi. Oh, Rossi just holds firm. Rossi's through the grab.
Gibbon out and Rossi head to head, side by side.
Oh,
And the only time that I was able to go to see him in the race in Italy, in Mugello, no, he broke the motor.
disaster for Valentino Rossi and for the factory Yamaha team. There are 100,000 fans here.
Oh, golly, it's blown.
What a day for Yamaha.
That engine has completely blown.
I remember I took my father, he loved also motor race, and... Sorry, 1 second. Hello? Yeah? Yeah, okay. Sorry, we have to move on. I cannot finish my story. Yamaha need the headphone back. So, thank you Yamaha to give me the opportunity to review this 5 grand headphone. And as always, I'm here to sharing my honest opinion about it, so let's do it. The first time that I had the chance to test the Yamaha 5000 SE was this year at the high-end Munich show, and was powered by the new Yamaha amplifier, the HA-L7A. But the small room was pretty loud and I was not really able to understand the sound signature and the quality, unfortunately. But if you remember, I had a short interview with the Yamaha team and Mr. Rio Adano, the acoustic design engineer behind the 5000 SE. Orthodynamic driver that is basically planar magnetic, if you would like to call it like that. Maybe it's more familiar to you, right? And it's really interesting that actually this technology was born in 70s, so long times ago. But the complex structures make it really not easy to manufacturing, and only few brands succeed into it. And one of these was the Yamaha with the HP1. And if you are old enough, I think probably you remember it, right? But fortunately, I'm not, so... But if you had the chance to test it, please let me know what you think about it in the comments, because it's something really interesting also for me. The Yamaha flagship arrives in this beautiful 3-floor box, giant box, really huge, where you can find 2 audiophiles, cables 2 meters each, one with the 6.3 balanced Pentacon connections and one with the 3.5 and 6.3 jack millimeter adapter. Then we find 2 types of ear pads, leather and suede. And it's crazy how they could change the sound signatures. It's the first time that I generally don't test or doing tuning on headphones. I just pick the headphones how it is and I review it. Wow, I was really impressed, but we will speak about it later. And here a characteristic that places the Yamaha really far away from the competitors is how much it easy replace the earpads. Take a look. Ready? Watch this. Crazy, or so you can really move from one setup to the other just in few seconds. And in the end, on the last floor, that for some reasons I didn't saw it at the beginning, I was looking for instructions manual, and here we go, a beautiful metal stand. Really beautiful. I like the material. Full metal is really heavy actually, and I really like it because you can hang up also your headphone cable. The attention to the details on the 5000 SE is insane. I didn't like it the first time that I saw it in the pictures, but I really have to say that when you have it in your hand is another luxury feeling. I didn't find the designs really elegant or minimalist, all this crew, but when I watch it, the assembly is pretty impressive, and for some reasons remind me really a sort of mix between the Focal Utopia and the Sennheiser YH-5000S. And I have both of them and we'll speak about it also in the review. Wow, 320 grams. 10 grams lighter than the YH-5000S from the Sennheiser. That is something really insane. 800S, that is still the king of comfort. You really don't feel it on your head, is really invisible, but Yamaha is getting really closer, and the amount of bass, as we will see in the sound quality that is coming out from the Yamaha, is higher, right? On the YH-5000S you don't feel it, and you don't got these pressures that is coming also from the Yamaha or the Focal Utopia, right? But you will get also less bass. You can't have everything. Regarding ear holes, well, I will be not disappointed by seeing a slightly bigger diameter and a slightly deeper space for your ear. But I was able to have hours and hours of listening music without any sign of fatigue. And of course this is also something subjective, but I have to give you my feedback. Handmade in Japan, is coming with a full magnesium driver housing, and if you look inside you can see the whole constructions against the light. My only concern about the constructions quality is the headband mechanism. Plastic materials, not sure about it, but look cheap compared to the overall headphones. It's easy to use with really 2 fingers. You can move it up and down, so really beautiful and really smooth. Yokes can tilt and swivel, and the bearing junctions mechanism on one side is moving a little bit more, but I'm not sure if I received a completely new headphone. So comfort for me is absolutely 9 to 10, second only to the YH-5000S. I forget regarding stability test. Yes, it's pretty stable. Cable connectors are easily accessible, normal jack, standard 3.5mm, nothing fancy like in other brands. Sennheiser, first of all, that have one special connector for different connector for every headphones, I don't know why, but also Focal, Clark, Odyssey, I think only Meze, HiFiMAN, and now Yamaha understood this. Actually, look, these beautiful inclinations of the cable are going down in these directions, and this will avoid that the cables is touching your chest. I love these structures. It's really beautiful, at least to look right. It doesn't bend in weird shapes, but it has a minor issue. If you move too much your head in these directions, or if you do like that, you will hear this sound. If you don't move too much, it's fine, but as soon as you start to do something like that with the music, maybe, you will hear it a little bit. So we really should to improve at least the first centimeters. I don't know how, maybe make it a little bit different type, different material or something to cover here, to don't let the cable hitting the drivers. It will reach your ears with this weird noise. Frequency response 5 Hz to 70 kHz, sensitivity 98 dB with a nominal impedance of 34 ohms. Make it really easy to drive. I pair it also with the HipTech 2 or the hi-fi Gryphons, review available in descriptions, absolutely any problem. So really beautiful in terms of efficiency. I compare it with the Focal Utopia 800S, but also the Aria Stealth, and these are something between the Focal Utopia are I think the easier headphones to drive, then we have this one, and then the YH-5000S that it will require slightly more power. So great work of Yamaha engineers to give you a planar magnetic headphones that is easy to drive. But I'm sure if you are going to purchase an headphones like that, you have fancy headphones, big stuff to drive it, right? So you are not going to take it with you portable headphones, and for sure we are going to close it in your safe with the rest of your collection. I was testing the 500SE on two my reference amplifiers that are the RME AD2 DAC and the Monitor XE. And it's really strange because the Monitor XE, it always had this warm bottom end and the RME was more neutral, right? But since last firmware upgrade, something happened with the RME. I'm not sure about it, but it's become also more warm in the bottom end. So if you have the RME AD2 DAC, please let me know if you notice also this after the firmware upgrade. Actually, here we can take a look of the frequency response comparison between Monitor XE and SPL, and on bottom end now the AD2 DAC is more emphasized. Really strange because was on the opposite side. I don't know what's happened after the firmware upgrade. And if you are asking yourself which one was better with the 500SE, well, both perform really good. I prefer the Monitor XE with the leather earpads and the RME with the suede one, but we'll speak about it later. A quick look of the frequency response done with the Mini DSP ears. I know, before you say something about it, is not really good, but yes, we know it. I'm using it for fun and to make it comparisons between headphones rather than just look the frequency response. And I really don't believe that frequency response really matters so much. So, by the way, this is a deviations from flat target curve, and we can observe a beautiful extensions on the bottom end. That is 2-3 decibel more emphasized with the suede earpads, and leather earpads that are more emphasized between two curves, so in the upper mid. And that's exactly what I experienced during my test. So, but let's move to sound quality to break it down. So how it does a 5 grand headphone sound? Well, expectations were really high, and I'm generally really critical when I receive such a important and expensive product. I have to be, and it's good that I had here the Vocal Utopia, first model, not the last one. I didn't test unfortunately yet the last one, and the HD800S that are two of my favorite headphones. And I have to say that the 5000SE impressed me immediately from the beginning for the ability to deliver an easy and funny sounds with a great amount of bass. Bass that was clean, was round, articulated, beautiful, make it appear any songs also not well recorded, sound really good. And it's a bottom end that doesn't subtract clarity to the mid-range, something really positive. Earpads will play a big role in the bass quantity and definitions. For example, with the leather one, you will have a more clean bass, it will be more articulated, and you will notice, especially in jazz music, where fast passages will sound much more defined, where the suede one, it will be more smooth and warm. I found the suede more easy to listen, yes, more funny, and also slightly less fatigue in the upper mid. And don't get me wrong, it's absolutely not fatigue headphones. You can listen for these headphones 12 hours without any signs of fatigue. But the mid-range, on the upper mid-range on the leather one, is slightly more emphasized. And it's something that you will notice absolutely on piano notes or chords that has a high transient dynamic. Back on the suede one, especially with metal and rock, wow, sounds really so beautiful. So about electrical guitar, I don't know that I think planar magnetics on electrical guitars, and it's a feeling that I always had on planar magnetics, is just another level compared to dynamic headphones. So generally I prefer leather with jazz and classic music, and suede with rock, metal, EDM, pop music, modern music, all this stuff. So where I need a cleaner presentations, classic jazz, I use the leather one, tac, few seconds, you change it, you move to the suede one, and you enjoy all the rest. So it's like to have two headphones in one, right? Compared to the 800S, well known for its huge soundstage, right, and is still the king of soundstage and a more analytical presentation, the 5000 SE is getting really closer in terms of soundstage, but yes, the 800S is still slightly wider. And the 500 SE, it will come with this big amount, plentiful bottom end that the 800S doesn't have, right? If we take a closer look of the frequency response, Yamaha in red, 800S in blue, we can see this clearly in the bottom end. A well-controlled and virtuoso bass that also know how to become plentiful, defined and never bloated. Really closer to the Focal Utopia bass, but with a touch of magic, nuance and sweetness. Something really visible also in the frequency response comparison. Yamaha versus Utopia. Infrasonic authority on the Utopia is slightly better, and you will notice it immediately if you play anything from this great artist Elvan Noto. Really going to check it because it's a great sub-bass test. I've discovered a lot of German artists, I think because I'm using Cobas here in Germany and is giving priority to German artists. It's also something good, why not? And here Utopia is coming out in the infrasonic with a slightly more grip. But we are there, and considering the planar magnetic technology, I was really impressed. Also in terms of dynamic, oh my god, this is unbelievable. Utopia is coming with a smaller soundstage compared to the Yamaha 5000 SE, but with a more intimate presentations compared to it, because you will have instruments and artists more closer to your head, right? Where the Yamaha tend to project a little bit instruments and artists slightly more far away, also at high volumes. And I forget to say that these headphones really sound beautiful also at moderate low volumes, something that for me is really important. I don't listen to high volumes. And I know I spoke a lot about bass, but I really enjoy it on the Yamaha 5000 SE. And it has this ability to give you always the right amount of bass. Like there is one inside that is equalizing, right? It's really crazy. You will never say it's too much, you will never say the song is lack of bass, it's always perfect. Back on vocal and mid, there is something that makes the 800S really magic and unique. And I'm speaking about this holographic nuance and micro textures details on voice that on the 800S is slightly superior compared to the 5000 SE. So during my test I focused my attentions to the SE versus the Utopia. Actually, let me read what I wrote on my script. So Utopia, more dry sound, sometimes too much clinic and not funny, better dynamic, sometimes instrument, especially in classic music, sounds too cold on Utopia, smaller soundstage, but slightly better imaging, too heavy for long listening sections. And moving on the 5000 SE, oh my god, electrical guitar is killing. Bigger soundstage, faster attack, more funny, much better comfort, great vibe, more versatile. And when I say funny, please don't get me wrong, because voices are rendered faithfully with body, physical presence and all the shades in color they deserve. Tonality in instruments are very satisfying and full of positive vibe. Drums are coming with generous dynamic, are rapid and full of body. Moving on upper mids offer crispiness and the sound is clear, without being never harsh or too bright. There was no area where the sounds appear to me lack in resolutions, fatigue, sibilance, nothing, everything was just incredibly good. Sax was romantic, trumpet is never shrill or too annoying, cymbals are crispy and clean with a great decay, piano slightly warm with a great transient attack, and I couldn't find it a recording or music type that it didn't reproduce well. But if I have to be really critical, and I like it to be, why not? On the leather, I will probably... It's still something that you can do it with the equalizations, right? I will just take out a couple of dB between 1 and 2 kHz. It's slightly too much, but yes, with equalizations you can definitely do it. And second points, my only concerns, compare it also here also with the Aria Stealth, for example, that is not coming with such amount of bass, but with a better center imaging. On the 5000 SE you have this sense of center imaging that is slightly too much stretched, right? How you call it? Something like a stretch. When you expand it, it's more wider than it should be. Especially on vocals, sometimes you expect the artist to be well focused in the center, but you got a wider presentations of it. I like to call it out of phase feeling, something that I correct also here really easily with the Monitor XE by enable the crossfeed. And we review it. I love the crossfeed of the SPL because this will not let you lose almost nothing in the stereo imaging and the soundstage. But it's a feeling that appeared to me just in few tracks, especially in these tracks that are coming already with such a type of emphasizations and could create some artifacts. So in the end, the time that I spent with the 5000 SE was only about pure joy and pleasure. And if there is an headphones that I would like to see in my collections, well, this is the 5000 SE. Unfortunately, it's too much expensive for me. And yes, I have to send it back. But fortunately, the good things about headphones that if you go to any show, you will get the chance to test any headphones, something almost impossible with loudspeaker. Please stand up going to test the 5000 SE because it's in my opinions a great headphones, and let me know here down below in the comments what you think about it. It may be not the best headphones in the world, but for sure is until now the best headphones that we review on Med Audio channels. From me is everything. I hope you enjoy, guys, this review. As always, support my work by subscribing to the channels and hit the like button, and see you soon with an amazing review just for you.